Ladies and gentlemen, your Minnesota Twins are the 2023 AL Central champions. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They did it, baby. They did it. We out here going to the playoffs, back in the postseason. I got a feeling about half of y'all are at Target Field right now. with how that crowd went. That crowd went hard. Woo! My goodness. Whoever's coming in here, they better be ready for that. But a toast to the Minnesota Twins. Congratulations on winning the American League Central. Wasn't a pretty finish to the game, but we will take it. We will take it all day. A little bit of adversity never hurt anybody heading into the playoffs. And now again, clinched. Nothing else really matters at this point. Get the Ducks lined up, get everybody going. They're in. They're in. So a toast to the Twins, a toast to y'all. Thanks for being here. We're going to celebrate again. Twins still in their celebration. I saw it looked like they were just putting up the tape in the clubhouse, plasticking off all of the lockers. I hope they go nuts. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Wound Stoon. Appreciate that. Yeah, had a blast this season, man. Had a blast. I think this is the arc that you want on a team. Talking about just, we're going to go on some tangents here. I prepared absolutely nothing. So we are just hanging out. We're going to go off tangents. We're going to chat amongst yourselves as well. Get some chat going together there as I'm blabbing on. That's part of these two, is we're all hanging out together. But yeah, I think, man, the arc of this team, I just think from a fan standpoint, is so rewarding. We've seen all the challenges. We've seen everything they had to overcome. We've seen the highs and the lows. And it keeps going. It keeps going. There's constantly guys out, coming back, filling in, guys stepping up into different roles, guys playing different positions, guys learning new positions, to fill in the gaps. And, has it been the prettiest run? No. Has it been the toughest road to a division championship? No. But these guys had to overcome a lot. These guys persevered, and it does feel like as a team, they're hitting their stride. Now, there's some concern over certain individual players, whether not they're going to be around or when they're going to be healthy. But as a team, man, I love the way this team has come together. I love the way this team has played in the second half. Absolutely love the way that they're playing. And it's gone from, at a certain point, early in the summer, it's gone from like, you can kind of expect them to not come through in those tough moments, to where it's the complete opposite now. And there's just a completely different vibe. There's a completely different feeling. And again, it's just been an all hands on deck. Everybody's got to contribute. Everybody on that roster, it has a big role. This team needs everybody in that locker room to be contributing on a regular basis, and they've done it. So, I'm juiced up tonight. Absolutely. We're celebrating this thing. Obviously the ultimate goal is down the road, but this was never guaranteed. I think last season is like the best example of that, you never know how these things are going to go. You never how things are going to progress as the season goes. You never know how, your other competition is going to develop. So yeah, we're celebrating this one. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, kind of riffing off some of the comments, they've been like different teams this year. And that's kind of the beauty of, 162 game season, playing ball for 6 months. You're going to have times where the team, okay, they're this thing. They're this team that has a great pitching staff, starting staff, but they have these other things that have to come together. Now all of a sudden, It's been, well, the pitching staff is solid, but maybe not as elite as it was earlier. But hey, wow, look at they're hitting with runners in scoring position. They're getting rallies together. They're doing great with the bases loaded. So it's just been, we've seen so many different versions of this team, not only on the personnel side, which that's been absolutely the case, but also their performance wise. And again, I just think it's been really rewarding to follow this team through. Again, it's you know it hasn't been the prettiest run all year. It was. I think that's what was kind of beautiful about this game in a way. I actually think now that it's over, I can say this. Now that they won and they clinched, I can say this, that it's kind of almost poetic that Duran came out and made it as interesting as it did. We can't have everything easy. We cannot have things easy. That would have been too clean, too pretty, too pristine for him to come out and mow down the Angels for 1, 2, 3 inning. We had to make it hard. We had to get uncomfortable for a moment there. Of course, even if the worst would have come to worst tonight, this thing was wrapped up a while ago, essentially. But man, absolutely love the way the things are developing of late, and just proud of this ball club. Proud of this ball club for persevering and winning this division. So thanks, Chris. I hope you I hope you had the pro tip. You put the plastic up. I hope you did the Tory Hunter ski goggles thing. I mean, champagne. I don't know if that gets out of the office easy, but you know, we're all celebrating here. Garrett, thanks for stopping by. Everybody, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Hanging out. We are just chilling. We're just chilling. I don't have a whole lot to go over. We're just going to kind of riff off of our thoughts and reminisce on this season. Of course, there's time left. Of course, they've got these games to play, but wrapped up, and essentially kind of aiming for the 2 seed is out of reach. Essentially, there's a lot of people that shared some really great insights into sort of the math behind how that might work for the Twins. Not that they're going to pack it in. These guys are still going to play, obviously, and try to keep sharp. But what a great night! What a great night to be able to clinch at home. And what a great crowd! What a great crowd, man! Target Field was on it tonight. And great to see that crowd rewarded with the celebration. And it looks like a lot of people were sticking around. So much fun when the team gets to do it at home. There was a chance they would get it on the off day. That would have kind of taken, obviously we were going to celebrate anyway. The team's going to celebrate either way. But it's pretty special to do it at home, and, special for the players as well, I'm sure, to be able to share that moment. It's easy to take this stuff for granted. It's really easy to take this stuff for granted, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And just really happy that this happened for these guys. Seems like a real, in addition to everything else, this seems like a really good group of dudes as well that the Twins have. And I think that is something that they have stressed, is getting, good clubhouse guys. The team overall, has a pretty veteran mix to it. Obviously, the rookies were kind of the X factor that pushed the team over the top, but this is a veteran clubhouse. This is a team, they went out of their way to acquire guys, your Kyle Farmers who came up big tonight, your Michael A. Taylors, guys of that nature. And I think it was, in addition to them being just sort of really good players and good pieces to plug in and good depth, I think they were brought in too to be, to establish a little bit more of the clubhouse and have, a good vibe. And I think that's benefited a lot of players too. Yeah, man, Steve, Willie Castro, that's my MVP. I think that's another fun conversation you can have about this team, is who's the MVP, because there's so many good possible answers up there. There's so many. That's the beauty of this team. Is it is a team. There really wasn't anybody that singularly carried them throughout the whole season. You could say a couple of the starting pitchers. Sonny Gray was just so consistent. Sonny Gray in particular, and Pablo Lopez, incredible year. But when you're in the rotation, you're only playing every fifth day. It's really hard to sort of have that player, establish sort of a kind of a consistency. You just can't do that as a starting pitcher when you're only pitching every fifth day. I don't think I have to expand on my love for Willie Castro to y'all. Y'all know my love of Willie. It's been just a joy, absolute joy to watch him, and just from getting familiar with him in the very early stages of spring training and kind of connecting with him and seeing him have this year. I mean, wow. And when you look at his overall stat line, this is kind of a beautiful thing about following a baseball team, about being a hardcore fan of a team, is that yes, baseball is this tremendous numbers game. We're incredible at quantifying every little thing in baseball. There is no way to I don't think we have a good way of properly quantifying like the number of moments that Willie Castro had across this season and on how consistent a basis that he did it. Just a treasure of a season, in my opinion. And the fact that he is so versatile defensively, came up huge many, many times over. Just like uh, huge love out to Willie Castro. In my opinion, the team MVP for those reasons. But again, if you look at the stat line, like somebody from the outside looking at it would be like, what do you mean this guy's not even that good? It's kind of the fun thing about this team. And I think too, you can say that about like being a hardcore fan of a team like this. Castro, lifetime contract. Rest easy, my fellow Willie fans. He is controllable through arbitration the next 2 seasons, if I'm remembering that correctly. It's I'm fairly certain. So he will be. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm sure Falvey and Rocco and company really appreciate him. And I mean, if you were to ask, like, okay, who is the just perfect type of player as maybe like your last guy off the bench, even, which Willie's obviously been much more than that, but that's sort of the role he won out of spring training. And I would say, well, give me a guy that can play at least 6 defensive positions, can play center field and shortstop among them. That's important. And as a switch hitter, that's Willie Castro. And how many guys can you describe like that? Not many. So Willie's special guy. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He ain't going anywhere for at least a few more years. Absolutely love Willie Castro. Love him. Ooh, Zachary with an early Sire Fort Myers call. Brooks Lee. Ooh, I like it. That's a good call. I should call out too that Willie was a somewhat controversial choice for Sire Fort Myers. Actually, if you remember, this has kind of been forgotten, I feel like. But Edouard Julien also had an incredible spring training with the Twins, and then an incredible World Baseball Classic. But he was away for that WBC. That kind of hurt his Sire Fort Myers chances. But obviously, there's another guy in this mix of Twins and very essential to the identity of this team. And I would also say Edouard Julien, also another guy who it's just been really rewarding to watch. He's been great at the plate all year. I think his defense is as good as I've seen it at the last like month or so in particular. I'm not, I'm maybe Tommy Watkins has been working with him. I know he does a lot with the infield. I don't know who deserves credit. I don't know if it's just him getting comfortable. Maybe it's even a teammate like Kyle Farmer giving him some pointers. Hopefully somebody does a big article on that. Maybe they already did. If they did, let me know. But I would be curious to see, what Edouard Julien would kind of attribute this defensive progress to. But he's just looked very reliable out there. And, he's never going to be a Gold Glover at second base. I love the fact that they're working him in at first base. I think that was a really important thing to do with him. But he's just been amazing. Edouard Julien. So it's just been really fun to follow this team and all these names and these guys. That's the thing too about we got baggage. Let's be honest, we got baggage. Twins fans, we're carrying this baggage around. I almost don't even want to mention the specific streak. We know what I'm talking about here. We got this baggage carrying around, but I think that's a refreshing part of this team is that these guys don't. Edouard Julien, he ain't been on this team. Willie Castro, he ain't been on this team. Pablo Lopez, he ain't been on this team. These guys don't have baggage. That kind of baggage carrying forward with them. There's so few guys that have that. We don't talk about it. The thing that shall not be named is what we'll refer to it as. That thing that will not be named. I mean it's tough to it's deep ingrained in our psyches, but that it's not a thing. It just isn't with this team. There's we definitely put off a vibe, and even if with that crowd tonight, I feel like when Toronto was struggling, there was that like, oh boy, is this about to be a Minnesota sports moment thing? So we carry that baggage, and we got that vibe sometimes, and you can feel it in the air. But these guys, this is a whole different thing. And, Calvin, what am I drinking? Right now I'm drinking a Shell's Dark is what I'm drinking. Solid beer, Minnesota beer. What are you drinking, Calvin? You let me know. Kyle Farmer's another guy. I know he is. I know Kyle Farmer is arbitration eligible next year as well. Just with his experience, I would not expect that he has 2 years. But yeah, he's around another year if they want him. What a game from him! You mentioned the post game interview with his. He had one of his kids there. That was pretty cool on the field for the celebration. And yeah, I mean, I really like Kyle Farmer too. Obviously not. Again, it's sort of like Willie Castro, not a superstar player, but a really good role player and a really good dude, and really, I think probably an important guy, more important guy than we would realize watching the team from the outside in. I think you could also say that about Christian Vasquez as well. I would bet that there's a lot of things we don't see on a daily basis that, like, if you were to ask Rocco Baldelli, or if you were to ask their teammates, or if you were to ask, Derek Falvey, they would, rave about those guys and talk about them a lot more glowingly than maybe their numbers suggest. And yeah, a lot of people are nervous about the left side of the infield. I get it. I am, I'll be honest, I am too. In case you missed it, Royce Lewis was placed on the injured list today. He can come back and play, I think, one more regular season game before the playoffs if he's on the DIL, for the minimum. Correa's on the injured list too. We know how, his health has been this season. A lot of discussion on what they might do if one or both of those guys are unavailable. Farmer's going to be in there though. If it comes down to it, it's probably going to be Willie and Farmer. And, I understand like a Brooks Lee promotion would be a lot more exciting. But, I'm also kind of you try to dance with the gal you brought to the dance. That's not the saying. What is the saying? To try to dance with the gal you brought? I don't know. You know what I'm trying to get at. I think it would be, and I realize we saw Alex Kirilloff debut in the postseason in 2020, which was nuts. But I would think generally that's a thing to avoid. Oh yeah, I don't think that's a worst case scenario conversation that I don't think is going to come to fruition based off of what we're hearing. I'm going to choose to remain positive on both of those fronts. But I will also say, like, if a key person is out, and there's still time for guys to get hurt, there's still plenty of time for more guys to get injured, unfortunately. Obviously, the Twins have a ton of guys coming back mean, like half of St. Paul's roster right now is rehabbing major leaguers, and for the most part, they're all looking pretty good. But remember, if someone does go down, like it's hard to compare team to team, year to year, whatever. And we're going way ahead of ourselves here. We're going way ahead of ourselves. I know. But the Atlanta Braves managed to win a World Series without Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, how insane is that? That is insane that the Braves won a World Series without Acuna. So it's not like baseball is the ultimate team sport. It's not as if one player is going to make or break the team. So, Elijah, thanks for hanging out. Let me get the chat up in a different way here. There we go. Oh, Joe Ryan. Of course Joe Ryan's got swim goggles. He's got them water polo goggles from back in his day. All right. Let me jump over and try to make sure to catch up on some of the comments that I missed. Someone asked about Buxton. Buxton is doing a rehab assignment now, as I'm sure a lot of you know. So, it's a toss-up. He was on rehab assignment earlier. They had to shut him back down. They're restarting him up again. I'm going to choose to be optimistic about that one as well, and hope that he can return. Absolutely want Buxton back for sure. People forget how good he was prior to this year, and like the 3 years prior to this year was like a top 15 bat. Ridiculous. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. That's sort of the new, now that the clinch is finished, now that the Twins have wrapped up the division title, it's going to be interesting to see how things come together. And how they decide to build up this roster for the playoffs. It's going to be really interesting. What a great opportunity, though, to have this much of a runway to do that. There's so many teams in some of these tough races just fighting for their lives. And they don't get that benefit of, okay, now you can sort of piece things together and make plans and get guys back and work them back in without, having it be this like, oh no, we need to win every single game. The Twins don't have to do that. It's a great opportunity for them to do that. Yeah. Brittany says winning a playoff game will be my World Series. Same. And I know there's a lot of like hard-edged Twins fans and analysts out there that are, arms folded about this and be like, well, they shouldn't even celebrate anything until they won a playoff game. And geez, you winning one playoff game shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Anytime you clinch a playoff berth, anytime you can beat the thing that will not be named, anytime you could get over something like that, it's a big deal. Yeah. It's going to be a big deal. This is a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. Yeah, Alexander, agreed. Some people, I get the overall vibe to some degree. Like, yeah, we should be able to expect more. I kind of get that, but at the same time, this isn't easy. There were 4 other teams they had to beat. That in the division. It's not easy to do. You're not going to do this every year, and you never know when the next time is going to come. So yeah, I'm glad the guys are having a good time. I hope they soak it up. Yeah, Catherine mentioned some of the makeup of some of the championship teams. That's a good those, and some of the wasn't the 87 team kind of came together late too. In this way that, they were hanging in there. And they overcame a lot of adversity. They were kind of So some people feel like the Twins should be embarrassed to qualify for the playoffs, essentially, because the AL Central is so bad. That '87 team. I mean, they didn't even win 90 games, right? So I'm sure at that time people thought, "Oh, geez, this is a cheap way to get in." Then yeah, the Twins ain't gonna apologize to anybody. And again, that team came together late. That team was gritty as hell. This team is kind of starting to, I think, kind of get that personality and that kind of they can tell themselves that. It's almost with pro athletes in particular, it's almost like the narrative they can tell themselves sometimes can really juice them up. Like how many times when there's like a big win or a championship do you hear nobody believed in us? Nobody thought we could make, when they start to feel like their backs up against the wall and nobody's believing in them and all that stuff. I think the Minnesota Twins for this year can absolutely sort of carry that flag and feel that way because it's true. No, in the national media, in the outside world, the AL Central is just a joke, and the Twins are a fake champion. And I think this team's going to run with that. And I think they're going to juice up some guys and maybe especially, some of these young guys, some of these veterans who were casted away by their former longtime organizations are going to have a big ass chip on their shoulder and going to be out to show like, listen, we're champions. We're AL Central champions. We're we're not going to back down from anybody. We're here to put up a fight. We're here to win baseball games. And this team too, they've talked about winning all year. I think that's kind of maybe a difference to having a really good veteran club too. Is they're not afraid of that. They've never backed down for that. And I think that's been a really cool element of this team as well. So, yeah, man, everybody's gonna be sleeping on the Twins. Everybody's gonna be sleeping on the Twins. And how it shakes out, they're obviously going to be facing somebody good. There's not a bad team that's going to be qualifying for the postseason, but some of these matchups I don't mind. These AL West teams, and again, I don't want to seem like I'm throwing shade at them or trying to say that they're not intimidating in their own ways. But I don't look at those teams and think like, oh, gee golly, how are we ever going to win a game against these teams? I like the way the Twins match up against those teams. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, there's definitely been a different swagger to this team. I don't think we've seen in a while. And it's the way they're winning too. It's the way they've won a lot. Nice. Robert, was that game 6? Oh man, wow. In 91. Whoa. That was a good one. That's a good point, Brittany. The shirt says AL Central champs. There's no asterisks or small print or anything. Yeah, these guys deserve it. They fought hard. They played well. Let's give them another spotlight here. Get me out of here. Look at these guys. They got the banner. Bunch of happy faces. Loving it. Oh, I didn't notice. I think that's Chris Paddock in the back middle. I didn't notice that he was out there during the celebration. That's cool for him. Might be a key piece as we go forward. It's going to be really interesting to see how this team comes together. It's going to be really fun to talk about potential playoff roster construction because there's just so many different ways that they can take this team. Yeah, Chris, I should mention, Chris is working on a really fun project regarding the thing that we will not be named. But you should keep an eye out for that. Yeah, Brett mentions that Cleveland won. So yeah, it was the Twins had to win, or winning, clinching the division with a win was a lot more fun than they lost, but we lost, but we it just puts a little cherry on top. Yeah, somebody mentioned Trevor Larnach. He's in there, and then he's another guy in that kind of conversation too. He's been in St. Paul for so long. kind of slipped off the radar, but I think there's a chance he might make the playoff roster. If depending on how things go and who comes back. Kyle was at the game. Oh man, what a game to be at. Did not work out for me to be there, but I'm Twins fans showed out. I'm super proud, the fan base. I can't really take any ownership in that since I wasn't there. Wouldn't be fair. But I'm really happy that the fan base showed out tonight and supported the team so much and was just loud. And you could on TV even. I can't imagine what it was like in the ballpark. On TV, you could just tell it was a totally different atmosphere at Target Field than usual. And again, it shows. I think there is some. What's the word that I'm looking for? I think people have grown a little bit desensitized by the Twins in general in the market when you zoom out. Of course, us hardcore Twins fans, that's never waned at all. But there's maybe a little bit less interest when the Twins are simply doing well or anything, because there's, everybody knows the thing. Everybody knows the thing that will not be named. And I think that kind of puts a damper on anything regular season wise. But I thought it was great that I didn't know what to expect. I know there was some potential rain in the forecast too at some certain points. So I didn't know. I thought there was a chance maybe it wouldn't be as rowdy of a crowd, but awesome atmosphere at Target Field. That was nice. I think, and the guys, you could tell the guys noticed. You could tell, and they all mentioned it in the post game. Rocco mentioned it in the post game. Awesome. All right. Well, I don't know. I think probably about wrap it up time. I should probably take these silly glasses off. I love those though, with the little helmets. They should do these some version of this as a giveaway every year. These are so cool. I could show off my latest Twins swag purchase too. I got a Brad Radke superhero figure that's been added to the collection. Some other stuff coming soon as well. So, I actually have to go. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that this evening, but Chris has assigned me some homework, so I'm going to have to make sure to clear some time to check that out. Joker Nation, congrats to the Twins. We need to finally make a playoff run. Yep, that's what it's all about, baby. That's what it's all about. You can't make a run unless you get there first, though, right? All right. Well, gonna call it quits this evening. Thanks so much for hanging out. Congratulations to the Twins. Man, this is gonna be so much fun. I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate your support all season long. Been feeling the love lately. I've got some very fun projects up in the air, multiple fun projects up in the air. I can't wait to share some news on. So be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. We'll talk again soon, as always. Thanks for